What's up, Gator Nation? It has happened again for the sixth time, I think, in the past 3 days. Florida has picked up another commitment. This in the form of Michai Boireau, a 6 foot 370 pound nose tackle out of Fairburn, Georgia, Creekside High School. And there's something really big about this one outside of his size, his size overall there. The really big thing about is this is a kid out of Georgia who Florida beat head to head against the Georgia Bulldogs, fresh off of an official visit to the Georgia Bulldogs. But here we see him right here. We're going to watch his highlights. Taking on three guys, making the sack, pushing all three of them back at once. This guy again, he is an absolute unit. You can see it on the film already. He's always going to be the biggest guy in the field, unless you're talking like maybe standing next to Desmond Watson for Florida. Maybe he's bigger, but I mean this kid is an absolute monster. And the impressive thing is he moves fairly well. He's not in great shape, I wouldn't say, but he's in pretty good shape for a 370 pound kid. Like look at his if you look at his lower half of his legs there, like his calves and down to his feet, you can actually see definition in his calf muscles. He's not sloppy. He moves well. Hey, you can see why Florida and Georgia and Florida State and other schools wanted him. But in the end, Florida wins out here. Here we can see him with two hands down, staying low, driving the center back, making the tackle, shedding the block. This guy's gonna be quite the run stopper in the future. The crazy thing is I don't think he's only a one trick pony. I don't think he's just typically you think of a 370 pound defensive tackle, nose tackle. You think they can't move well, and you think they're there just to eat space, take on two blockers, free up other players to come in and make plays. We're talking about a kid that had 45 tackles and 4 or 5 sacks his junior season in high school. Right there, man. He's there to do more than just to clog up running lanes. He's gonna make tackles as well, I believe. But that's gonna be his primary purpose. Is he's teams are not gonna be able to only block this guy with one guy. Otherwise, he's gonna be in the backfield all time, every time. You got to block this guy with two kids. Even at the SEC level, he is just too large, too strong, and too athletic for his size to block one-on-one. Somehow he's only a really low-rated 3-star. If you're watching the clips right now, I'm sure you're like me. I have no clue how. The Georgia Bulldogs wanted him badly, fresh off an official visit. They're not letting a kid official visit in June unless they want him. I'm sorry. Georgia fans can say what they want to say. National media can say what they want to say. Georgia's not letting a kid in early June just to come on a free visit. Creekside is a great program. That's who he plays for. I'm sure that there's another argument there where, hey, we take his commitment, we get more guys from Creekside down the line, sure. But that is not what happened. He committed to the Florida Gators. This is a great haul for Florida here, regardless of the ranking that a lot of people are going to look at again. But this one, I think alone, just on the premise of beating the Georgia Bulldogs for a kid from the greater Atlanta area, I think that by itself should be telling, regardless of what his ranking is. Florida got an absolute unit here along the defensive line. And this is really, off the top of my head, their first nose tackle they've taken under Billy Napier from the high school level. I may be not thinking of somebody. They did get some transfers in with Cameron Jackson. He's not really a true nose tackle, but this is the first real true nose tackle I can think of that Florida has recruited. So big recruiting victory here in so many ways. Here you see him going against Parkview, a really good school. I think this is Parkview. I'm from Georgia, so this is why I recognize all these schools. This is why I'm actually not too far away from Creekside here that Micah is playing for, right down the road from him. So I know a lot about these schools, and he's playing against some great competition for a great school. So you can see him just manhandling people here in this highlight tape. There you saw him taking on the block pretty well. He's not just getting blindly rushing up into a guy and trying to drive him back. He's extending his arms out and trying to make sure he's going to contain his lane, which he does it. He does it again. It's not like he's not trying to drive the offensive lineman back every single play. He's trying to maintain his leverage. Man, you see him diving down, making the play in the open field, making the tackle there for maybe a 1 yard gain. But yeah, he's not trying to just drive a guy back every single play. He's trying to extend his arms out, get leverage, keep his eye on the ball carrier, maintain his lane, so make sure he clogs up 2 running lanes there. And he does it so well on this tape. And I love right there again, I love how he just lays out for these ball carriers. There's the end of his highlight tape. But you can see, man, he is trying to make every tackle imaginable out there. He is diving, driving guys back, just making these crazy looking plays for a 6'5", 370. I don't even know if I did him justice. I might have said 6'3" at the beginning, but 247 has him at 6'5", 370 pounds. And once again, extremely high on him. We're gonna see that rating up there on 247, number 998 in the nation. There's not 997 kids better than this kid as a prospect. There's absolutely no way. Like, factoring in, again, Georgia, Auburn, Florida State. I mean, the list goes on and on. There's a lot more big schools that offered him. No way that this kid is rated that low. You can see on the composite he's 97. 247 has him at 78 on the defensive line, number 97 player in Georgia. I mean, I understand it if you're just looking at him as a one-trick pony, 370 pounds. Let's just get a big guy that can somewhat move and put him in the middle of the defensive line and put him in on first and second down and have him stop the run. I mean, man, I strongly believe that this kid has higher upside than that. But yeah, let's go look at his Gatorade board, where he stacks up compared to the other commitments at Florida. There you can see him right here. He's going to be actually right above Noah Portniagan. And why he's above Noah Portniagan is not only because of the position of need. There you can see the defensive line is a massive need at Florida. His proximity is a little bit closer, or a lot bit closer. Portniagan from Germany, Michai Boireau from Fairburn, Georgia. But this impact score, I mean, an 8.5 for a low-rated 3-star, and yeah, I might be getting crazy with my impact scores there. An 8.5, and a lot of that I think is driven from, number one, Florida hasn't recruited a nose tackle in the last few classes. I'm trying to make sure that's correct. I'm not going to click off and go through it all right now. I could be wrong, but off the top of my head, I don't remember the last true nose tackle Florida recruited. So that's number one. Number two is this kid is a giant, and he's super talented. You can see it on film. He's productive. Number three, Florida beat Georgia for a kid out of the state of Georgia. People can spin it how they want to spin it. He's not a 4-star. It's not a 5-star. Who cares? Georgia didn't actually want him as bad as Florida. Whatever. At the end of the day, fresh off of an official visit for Georgia, and he commits to Florida. So it's a really big recruiting victory for multiple reasons. So that's why he gets an 8.5 on the impact score. Gives him a 7 overall in our Gatorade, which is actually a 4-star rating. So personally, I believe he should be all of the 4-star, maybe a low-end 4-star. Of course, here's JJ Stats again talking about a Florida commit that should be rated higher. Yada 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 yada. But I don't see why there's an issue with it. We've seen multiple kids in the upper 300 pounds that were low-rated 3-stars get drafted in the first or second round in the NFL. There's no reason that this guy can't maybe shed 10, 20 pounds, get even more athletic than he showed, and then just be an absolute force in the middle of a defensive line, and essentially be a run stopper and stop running plays all by himself. But here we can see we're going to compare him to the defensive line, maybe what kind of impact he'll have down the line. As we all know, we see Desmond Watson, 415 pounds, which is even bigger than Michai Boireau, which is nuts. Cameron Jackson is 340 pounds. These are all guys that are upperclassmen, so you were quickly looking for a replacement for these guys. Florida obviously is prioritizing larger defensive linemen, and once you get past Jackson, Banks at 310, Desmond Watson again, you got Chris McClellan at 305, you got Jalen Humphreys, who has been here for 4 years and not made pretty much any contribution at all. So other than that, you're missing, like I said, you're missing a nose tackle. So I wouldn't be surprised if Florida takes another 300-plus pounder this class, depending on the class size and all that good stuff. But yeah, this is, for the future of the program, even outside of the transfer portal, Florida didn't have anybody lined up past, these top three guys. And I'm assuming Jackson, Banks, and Watson will be here for 2 more years. So that gives Boireau 2 years to develop, maybe shed some bad weight, gain some athleticism, get on a diet program, if they want him on one. I wouldn't be surprised if they keep him around 350 or 360 to play that true nose tackle position. But he'll have every opportunity to get on the field once he gets past that second, that redshirt freshman season probably. So as a redshirt sophomore, I'd fully expect him on the field, depending on how good he is. If not, second string, maybe pushing for a starting role. And then after that, who knows? Redshirt junior, I'd fully expect him to be a starter and maybe an NFL draft, maybe back for a redshirt senior season. Completely clogging up running lanes. So this is a very big recruiting victory, as we've mentioned, for Florida. They have been on an absolute tear in the recruiting world the past 3 days. I don't know what this puts them at. I think they're number 8 or 7 in the nation on 247 now in the team rankings. So a top 10 class, approaching top 5 quickly with some rumored high-rated kids still ready to commit, whether that be the next, tomorrow, an hour from now, or 2 months from now. There are some high-rated kids that are looking strongly at Florida. So this class is only going to get better, I strongly believe. Here we're going to go look at something that I've been working on real quick just to end the video. I said Florida is prioritizing having large defensive linemen and offensive linemen. I didn't say anything about that, but defensive linemen, we'll look at that right now. Look at this little project I'm working on. I've done 11 teams in the SEC, including Florida. Look who has the largest defensive line. Obviously, having our 420-pound nose tackle helps this average weight out. But look, 319.3 pounds along the defensive line for Florida. The next closest school is 307 pounds. Auburn at 308 pounds. Texas A&M at 307. South Carolina at 306. And then Georgia at 301. So Florida has the largest weight. They have I think they're the tallest on average as well. 76.3 inches. 76.1 for Georgia, 76.1 for Kentucky. They're the tallest as well. So not only are they the heaviest defensive line on average, they're the tallest defensive line on average. So Napier has a very straightforward message to the rest of the nation. He's going to recruit big. He's going to recruit tall. He's going to recruit strong. And the crazy thing is if you look at the 247 composite average, that's a .9066. That's an average of a top 247 player in the country there for Florida. So I'm not going to, we can probably look at it real quick. So you can see Georgia's more talented, Alabama's more talented, LSU, Texas A&M, and that's it. So that's the 5th most talented team in the SEC along the defensive line, and the largest. So you tell me if you think Florida's defensive line is going to be better this year. I would project so, and I think that's going to lead to some more wins than a lot of people are thinking. But not to go off on a tangent, this is about Michai Boireau again. We'll end that video here. For Michai Boireau, big human, really impressive recruiting haul here for Billy Napier and staff over the past few days. So hopefully we'll get out a few more videos here over the coming days or weeks. But until those next videos, please, if you could like and subscribe, I'd appreciate it very much. Go Gators.